Let's run Llama 2 locally. These are the specs of my PC that I did these steps on. I had 32 gigs of RAM, but 16 should work just fine. Make sure you have Python 3. I followed these instructions from Scott W. Hardin's personal website. Instructions are clear and his website's interesting. Check it out. Step 1 is to download the Llama 2 model. We're going to use a 7 billion parameter model. It links to the huggingface.co website from the instructions. We're going to download the one right here at the bottom. It's about 7 gigs, so it's going to take a little bit of time to download. Once the model's finished downloading, you'll create a folder on your computer and copy the downloaded model into that folder. That folder will be your working folder. And now step 2, we'll set up our Python environment. First, we set up a Python virtual environment. This isolates project dependencies and we get consistent behavior across environments. Now we've created the virtual environment, we want to activate it. Now we want to install the Llama CPP Python dependency. Open VS Code from this folder after activating the virtual environment so VS Code can see the virtual environment. We're going to install it through requirements.txt file, which is a Python best practice for installing dependencies. We're going to add the dependency that we want to install, Llama CPP Python, into our requirements text file, and then we're going to run a pip install on that requirements text file, and that'll get us a dependency that we need. Final part of step 2 is to install a C++ compiler. There's instructions for doing this for Windows, Linux, and Mac. Since I'm using my Windows gaming PC, I'm going to follow the Windows instructions and install Visual Studio Community, which comes with a C++ compiler. Alright, now we get to the fun stuff. Step 3, which is interacting with the Llama 2 large language model, which is running locally on our own computer. Let's go to VS Code and create a new Python script. Mine is called askllama.py. The first line is to import the Llama CPP Python library. Then we have to use the Llama function to basically tell it where the Llama model is locally. So it takes a path to where we stored the file. So we stored the actual Llama model file in our current directory, our working directory. So all it needs is the path to it, so which is going to be / and then the file name of the model. Now let's give it a pretty simple question to test it off with. We'll use the same question as in Scott's instructions, which is what are the names of the days of the week. Now we pass that question to the Llama LLM, and then when we get an output from it, we want to write it out to standard out so we can see what it came back with. As you can probably imagine, this is going to take a bunch of our computer's resources, CPU memory. So let's watch that stuff before we run it. This is how we run something interactively in VS Code. Running something interactively just means we can step through each line of the instruction instead of an application just running through everything. Just makes it a little bit easier for us to see what's happening. So we'll set a breakpoint and then we'll click run, and it started running locally. So we can see that Llama's initializing here. It gives us a bunch of initialization parameters. Let's take our question and send it to Llama. We can see CPU usage start to spike as soon as Llama starts thinking. In this case, memory usage seems to increase by about 7 gigs. If you're running this on a 16 gig computer, then theoretically it should be enough as long as you have enough available memory. Llama's thinking, and it's done. We see CPU usage come down as soon as it's done, and we can see the answer to our question right there. We've just got the Llama 2 7 billion parameter model to answer a question on our local machine.